Welcome to the Essential Core Series. The goal of this video is to give you fully functioning, strong abdominal wall. We want abs that both look good and function well for your daily activity. Okay, so we're going to go over some contemporary movements as well as some traditional movements. We're going to work on focusing on minimizing the volume. One of my pet peeves is that a lot of people say, oh, I do 500 crunches a day. We want to pick exercises that will target the abdominal wall and get you fatigued and transfer over to real life movements and hobbies that you participate in. All right, the first movement we're going to practice is a crunch hold. This is a real simple movement for the abdominal wall. Robin's going to round up through her upper back and pull her navel into the spine. Now this is an isometric, so we're just going to hold this motion. If you feel any stress in the head or neck, she can add her hands for some support here. All right, the next movement we're going to practice is a 2-inch reverse crunch. This one can be a little bit tricky, but just visualize movement through the knees. It's a little bit of work on posterior tilting. Robin's going to lift her hips up off the ground, working on bringing her knees towards my hands. And this starts to fire the muscles of the lower abs, which are incredibly essential for stabilizing through the hips. Take your time, try to minimize this movement forward and back of the legs here. Okay, we want to minimize that and come straight up. Next up is the partial leg lift. On this movement, we're going to move our legs from 90 degrees to 45 degrees, all the while keeping the navel pulled to back and back to the floor. Now, if you feel your back unlock, Robin, unlock for me. You feel a huge space in here. We have to shorten the distance that your legs are moving. Maybe not even 45 degrees, maybe just a few inches. The key is to start training the deep muscles of the abdominal wall to control the position of the pelvis, the partial leg lift. Now we're going to go into our hollow hold. Now, I've been using this movement in gymnastics for the last 20 years. Robin's going to round up like she did in our crunch hold. Navel to back, round it through her upper back. Now, we add the option of start elevating the legs, and if her low back is staying down, we start adding some extension in the legs. The second she feels her low back pop up off the ground, we want to draw the knees in a little bit. This is an isometric, where we're not doing this as movement, we hold it for time. Our side plank is next. Now I like side planks because it trains the all-important internal and external obliques, those muscles on the side of the body. Robin props her forearm and elbow and hand under her shoulder, and lifts herself up. Again, this is an isometric, we're holding it for time. Navel is pulled gently to the spine, and our legs are held straight. As an option, if you feel too much intensity, you can add the top leg bends and the foot is supported to give some a little less resistance. All right, we're going to go over classic, the plank. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves in the plank is the position of the low back and the pelvis. A lot of people don't know where they need to be. So I like to start most of my clients up in the tabletop position. From here, I'm going to have her tuck her pelvis under, and so she's creating a slight rounding in her back. A lot of people think they just need to be straight. I prefer to have the pelvis slightly tucked under to protect the low back. From here, she lowers onto her forearms and then extends her legs. Now I see the position of the low back that I want. For the most part, I'll sacrifice a little bit of body position in the thoracic spine, this part of the back, so that I get what I want here. Then navel is pulled to spine. Okay, so life happens standing. We're always standing up, participating in our sports for the most part. So we want to train the abdominal wall in that manner. So we're going to start off with the Pallof press in our standing movements. Knees are slightly bent, navel is pulled to spine. Robin extends out her hands with good posture, shoulders are down, chest is out. Now from here, we can provide some lateral pressure. Robin's going to tighten up through her core as I provide some resistance one direction. You can do this with a partner. We'll also show an option with band resistance. Doing the Pallof press with a band, if you don't have a partner, is a great way to train those obliques, and internal and external obliques. Shoulders are down, navel is to spine, and she holds. We're using the landmine for our next movement. Robin's going to extend her arms out. We're going to do counterlateral flexion, or CLF. Navel is pulled to spine, knees are slightly bent. From here, she's going to move 10 to 15 degrees from one way to the other. She's moving through her arms. Everything else is staying very statue-like here. This is going to cause the muscles of the core to contract and alternate the movement here. All right, we're going to use our lat machine for something a little less traditional. This is a great way to train the abdominals again standing. Robin takes a small step back, grabs the bar about shoulder width. Shoulders are down, Shoulder blades are pulled together. From here, she pulls the bar straight down in front of her body, almost getting to her thighs, as she should feel a strong contraction through her deep abdominal wall. Now we have 3 variations of hanging movement. So Robin's going to jump up. The first movement is just a tuck position. She's going to bring her knees up, navel's pulled to spine, and she's holding this. Now, if you can progress to the next level, we work on visualizing bringing the knees to the chest, up and down. Again, controlling the movement to minimize the swing. The last progression here is the full leg lift, which we use a lot in gymnastics. Legs up and down, navel to spine, control the descent to minimize swing. We're going to use the TRX for our next movement. It's a relatively advanced movement, but we have some progressions here as well. Robin starts off in a push-up position. Her body's about 45 degrees. The first variation, she's going to alternate extending arms. I refer to this position as the Superman position, as if you're flying through the sky. Forces her deep core to contract. For a more advanced variation here, Robin can start alternating the arms and passing the hands simultaneously. If you want a little bit more difficulty, she goes with both hands and gets some extension here. Watch the low back, keep the navel pulled to spine, and control the position of the pelvis. Hips are slightly tucked under. One of my favorite pieces of equipment is this little simple $10 ab wheel. These have been around forever, but most people have some confusion as to how to use them. Again, before Robin starts, we're going to go over back and hip position. So this is the big no-no. We really want to avoid this archy back. We want to actually tuck the hips under slightly, navel pull to spine. Now she's ready to extend. From here, she extends out when she feels comfortable, come in and out. Breathing steadily, navel's pulled to back. Optimally, I usually start off with 45 degrees extension, and eventually we get full extension here. I'll go ahead and go all the way down and come back. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more ideas, check out our website at robinandvictor.com. Click under Strength Coach for some online training, or sign up for our mailing list for lots of great ideas. Thanks.